Now, you know that the Gemara is the most studied book, right? If you go to any yeshiva, what do they study in the yeshiva? Gemara, Gemara, and Gemara. Right? They spend the whole time studying Gemara. So the Gemara is the Yama Talmud, is the sea of the Talmud. It's such an important book. Now, did you know that there is a Sephardic way to study Gemara? And where can we find this Sephardic way? Well, I have news for you. In a very short and small but very meaningful book called Darchei Talmud by Rabbi Panton. This is a book about methodology. It teaches you, the student and the teacher, how to study and how to teach Gemara. Isn't that important today? You know that today almost no yeshiva in the world follows the Sephardic way of studying Gemara? Did you know that? Isn't it important to recover that? Now we have access to these books. It's just up to us to resurrect these memories, study these, which is very simple, and apply it. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Example number one. It says, the first thing you have to do when you study Gemara, you have to have a very important appreciation of the text. I know it sounds obvious, but it's not. Because many times, more than what we would like to think, when the Gemara is studied, the text becomes like a pretext for the commentaries. The students spend more time in the commentaries than in the text. The text is just obvious, but it's not. So he says, first of all, you have to analyze the text. And you need to know the following. It says that the text of the Talmud, the text of the Gemara, it was edited. It's not a text where the information was just put there, one text after the other. Was edited meticulously by Rabbinan Ravashe. Ravashe also lived a long life, was a Rosh Yeshiva when he was 13 years old, in the time of the Amoraim we are talking about. And he spent all his life formulating and editing the Gemara. Alright? So he says, you have to be very careful when you study the Gemara to see the structure of the sugya. First of all, you have to identify the sugya. Okay? When you identify the sugya, you have to see the structure of it. The structure is called Surata Dishmata. Okay? That's the first thing that you have to pay attention to. All right? Let me just read something that I wrote here. For example, ideally an advanced student will also be able to read between the lines and understand the agenda of the editors of the sugya. When you see the Surata Dishmata, peeling off the various layers and understanding the legal point the sugya is trying to make. Okay? The order of citations within the sugya is never accidental, and the questions and answers are deliberate. When well understood, the structure is clear and shows a sophisticated hand weaving a complex tapestry. You know how you say tractate of a Talmud in Aramaic or in Hebrew? Masechet. What is a Masechet? Masechet is like a tapestry, what you do for, where things are weaving one into the other. You have to see the structure. All right? Second, because the Gemara was hyper-edited by geniuses, you have to pay close attention, that's the second point, to the terminology of the Gemara. Do you think that Tanur Rabbanan, Taneh, Tanya are the same thing? No. Every one of these words is a key word for something. Ignoring the terminology, as unfortunately it's done in most cases, doesn't allow you to appreciate the text. All right? Third, who are the protagonists? You need to know not just the names, but if they are from Eretz Israel, they are from Babel. It's important. The Gemara assumes that you know where they come from. And there is meaning in the fact that knowing the characters of the protagonist. For example, you have to know who is the teacher, who is the student. The Gemara assumes that you know this. All right? Fourth, commentaries. Go to the commentaries after you have exhausted the reading. After you have asked by yourself all the questions. Don't go to the commentaries immediately after you read the text. You have to analyze the text and read it once and again and again. All right, rereading and anticipation, etc. I don't want to read the whole thing, but there is a way in which Sephardim study Gemara. So is it important to revive this, to resurrect this? Isn't it part of our identity? Right? Now it's there. Go to Hebrew books, Darchei Talmud, and you have it. Oh, I have another idea, a better idea. Please tell Jeffrey after this that, maybe a community wants to sponsor, I don't have the time to do it, but sponsor a Talmid Chacham that will republish this book, Darchei Talmud. Very simple book, but very powerful.